Day, the 13th of July. I declare the meeting open at 10:37 a.m. I'd like to begin today's meeting by acknowledging the traditional custodians of the land on which we are gathered and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. What have we got? COVID restriction announcement. Due to the Queensland Government's COVID-19 restrictions, this week of committee meetings will not have physical public gallery. The health and safety and wellbeing of Logan's staff and communities is Council's top priority. As such, I'd like to say welcome to the members watching at home. I'd also like to advise attendees in the room that this meeting is being webcasted and audio recorded. I remind attendees to practice social distancing and take the necessary safety precautions. There are no leave of absences. Councillor Russell is not present at the moment, but I gather she'll be back in a moment. Moving on to item 4.1 is a report into Loganholme Biosolids Gasifier Project, update July 2021. I'll now refer to item 4.1. Can the Manager of Water Infrastructure Solutions, Mr Mark Vaughan, please enter the discussions? But before we open the discussion on this item, do any councillors have a conflict of interest to declare? There being none, I now refer to open public discussion. Mr Vaughan, you may proceed.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through the Chair, I'll take the report as read, and if we could, I'll just go straight to the presentation. This presentation is, I suppose, a commitment we made with Council to keep you updated about our signature gasifier project. The gasification project is progressing well, and this is a sort of 3-monthly update on that. So if we could just slip to the next slide with the schedule, please. We're well and truly into the construction phase at the moment. Our major procurement is underway, and some of the significant items are being transported towards Loganholme at the moment. So the centrifuges are on site, and if we can just scroll down, we can see that that's the area that's being cleared for the. So that's an earlier photograph of Loganholme. That's the area that's being cleared for the gasification facility. If you keep going, I won't take you through that unless any of the councillors would like to hear about that before. We've taken you through that before. That's the process that we're going through. So we're taking the wet sludge through. It goes through a centrifuge. Then we've got a drying step. And the gasifiers at the end, and I suppose the trick out of this is we're using the heat energy from the gasification process to put that into the dryers, and that's something that's never been done before. So I'll now get to some of the photos that we want to show you. So we're getting ready. That's the site. That's all been cleared, and that was done by a local demolition company. The next photos are of the dryers. So these are really large dryers. We sent out a link, I think, in one of the council updates a couple of weeks ago. So for those of you who have been following it madly, the ship is currently off the coast of West Africa, coming down that way. So we're trying to work out whether it's going to go through the Suez Canal or not, but apparently it's quicker to go around Africa, and it's on its way here. So these are the dryers coming out of Europe. If we go to the next phase, and they're being transported. As it says in the slides there, that it's never been transported in one piece before, but we worked out with the supplier that with the long travel times and things like that, it made more sense to actually transport it as an assembled unit all the way down to Australia. So Pyrocal, so this is the operation out of Toowoomba that has the smarts on the actual gasification units themselves. They're being fabricated at the moment. We're expecting to see them on site around September. And if you keep going one more slide. And you can see, yeah, so that's a hearth that will actually be up the other way. It's lying on its side at the moment. That's what actually goes through and does a lot of the production of the char and breaks down all of the nasty chemicals that are in there. So they're on their way to Loganholme as well. Probably got a couple more slides. You'll keep rolling past that. One of the things we did want to highlight is the amount of interest that this project is getting through the water industry. So we've talked about it at Ozwater, the water industry operators. We had it at the Leaf Festival, the Biosolids Conference. One of our staff members, Joanna Johnson, has actually been doing a magnificent job in carrying the load here and promoting this innovation for Logan all around the Australian water industry, and there's been much interest, and we're expecting to get many visitors as soon as we can get the site up and going. So finally, the next steps. So next steps for us are that the major components are going to be arriving, and we'll start assembling those in August, all heading towards us being able to start the commissioning phase of the project in late December and then through to next year. And hopefully early next year early next year we'll be making biochar, and we'll be looking for a viable market for us to be able to sell that biochar. So that's something that we're really excited about. It's looking like we'll be able to take something that was a waste product and actually be able to be selling it at the end of this process. So a really good step forward for Logan Water. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Mr Vaughan. I'll now open the floor to councillors for discussion. Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, in regards to the bioproduct, biochar, I was going to ask the question because obviously we're going to have a lot of this product. How much has gone into actually seeing if there's a local buyer? Is there a way of packaging this product up and utilising it in the fertilising industry? Is there something that we can obviously facilitate so that the expense of actually driving it all the way to the Darling Downs is not put in the equation?
Yes, through the Chair. We're actually doing that right at the moment, Mr Mayor. We're trying to find out what is the best benefit that we can get out of the product. We certainly don't think we'll be driving it all the way to the Darling, or paying someone to drive it all the way to the Darling Downs. We think we can get a better answer than that. We just haven't absolutely nailed that yet, but we're happy to come back to Council and with that update.
I know I went to the presentation down at Laganholme when we had the small one operating, and I was showing the product. Is there a way of grinding that down and making it into like a powder thing that for commercial use that someone could be interested in obviously purchasing from us on a localised, like a supplier from Brisbane, Logan, whatever? That might be another option, that's all.
Yeah, so again through the Chair, we're expecting that the end product that we get out of the gasification facility is a much more consistent, smaller grainage than what you saw from the trial.
Yeah.
The trial, I suppose, what went into the gasifier comes out of the gasifier. With the units that we're using upstream, we're going to have a much more consistent feed in, so we'll have a much more consistent, and those lumps that just all won't be there. Will be more granular.
Thanks very much. Councillor Bradley.
Thank you. Through the Chair, my question was very much similar, so I'm happy. Thank you.
Are there any other questions for Mr Vaughan? There being none, thank you very much, Mr Vaughan. We have a motion on the board. Can I have a mover for the motion? Mr Mayor, seconder, please. Councillor Stamp, all those in favour, please raise your hand. That's carried unanimously. Thank you very much. Does anyone have any general questions for Mr Vaughan? No? None for Mr Vaughan. Okay. That marks the end of the Manager Water Infrastructure Solutions. Is there any general business for the Director? Mr Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. How are we progressing with our letters to the ministers regarding a meeting for the Minister for Main Roads in regards to the concerns that we have? Have we got any correspondence back at all?
Through you, Madam Chair. I believe we have had some correspondence back from Mr Bailey in regards to the road projects, but I'll need to look into that and come back and brief you on that offline. I don't know that off the cuff, I'm afraid. Yep.
Yeah, is this normal behaviour that we don't actually, we used to get presentations quite regularly, and it just seems that we're not getting anything out. Is there a breakdown in communication? Is there something that we've done? Is there something that we can improve, or what's wrong? Because normally we request a meeting, we get a meeting, and I'm just a little bit concerned that it's going on for quite a length of time.
Through you, Madam Chair. I'm not aware of any breakdown in communications between us or anything that's frictionless, or any friction in that relationship either. So I'm more than happy to talk to you about that, but I'm certainly not cognizant of anything that would be in that space. No.
Councillor Bradley?
Through the chair, and this is no reflection on you, Mr. Riley, just so you know that. I'm with the Mayor on this. Previous terms, we had regular updates from the Department of Main Roads. We have had zero this term. And I think it's absolutely disgusting that there's things going on in the area that I represent I have no idea about. Zero idea. I drove down a local street, Chamberlain Avenue, Waraka Street, and lo and behold, here's some people closing off the road. So they've made the road one way. How did that happen? With zero consultation, zero notice to me, zero notice to residents, and residents are going, what's going on? I have no idea. We have had zero presentation or input. So previously, when we did have presentations, we'd even be able to give feedback to the department about, certain local things that could benefit, and they were extremely receptive and actually implemented a number of those things. But we've had zero input, and things are actually happening on the ground. And I'm actually looking at these things going on and trying to work out, are they putting a tunnel under there or what? I have no idea. No idea. I'm totally in the dark. And again, it's no reflection on you, Mr. Riley, and you don't really have to respond, but I think it's absolutely disgusting that we are not even being consulted, not even having any idea, not even just saying this is what we're doing.
Mr. Director, do you want to respond to that? Or is it the case that officers may have been advised and it hasn't filtered through to us? Is that potentially an issue? Or
Through you, Madam Chair, no, it certainly has reported previously. On several occasions we've written and requested that from TMR. Certainly off the back of the previous recommendations, there's been correspondence which has actually gone to the Minister requesting that there be presentations made. I think there were on 4 streets that were actually raised by Council at that time. I know there has been some correspondence flow back, but I don't believe there's been a commitment at this point made in regards to timings for briefings and the likes. Yeah.
we have a meeting with the Minister in a couple of weeks, Mr. Mayor, that was due for later this week, which has been rescheduled, so maybe that's something we can raise at that meeting with the Minister directly. Does anyone else have any other general business for the Director? There being none, thank you so much. I'll declare this meeting closed at 10:50 a.m. Thank you for your time today.